Hi guys, welcome to Tim's Garage. On this episode, we finish stripping the Sora and get rid of that car. It's been great. We've borrowed the heart and all the extra bits out of it. So we're very happy about that. Then, while the XF is still in Rego, we're going to take it for a test drive, go for a bit of a cruise, find out what its strong points are, and actually kind of get a bit of a benchmark so that when we finish it, we can see what improvements we've made. Thanks for watching. This is Tim's Garage. Doing a bit of a bench test, I guess, for the XF, the before and after. Let's try this thing out. Still gripping. We're going uphill, so I'm having to give it to her a bit, and yeah, that's still holding. It's holding fine. Yeah, obviously it's a big car. You can feel that it's heavy. Yeah, I can definitely tell this is not light and nimble. It rolls into the corners. You can feel the car roll around from side to side. So if I go from that side, then we go the other way, and the visor falls down. Yeah, and that's okay. So straight away from that side into that side. That's all good. And then into that side. Yeah, you can feel it. You got to drive the thing, but that's okay. That's kind. I guess I'd say that's part of the fun. Yeah, this is not a car that I'd do track days with. Just yeah, I think it's, yeah, this is not something that I'd consider doing a track day with, just because it's too big and rolly. It's too heavy to be doing track days with, as far as rolling around in its current state. But you could drag it, you know, and as a cruiser, yeah, it is. It's fine. It's actually pretty cool. So we'll, yeah, that might be the goal. I think let's get some power out of it, and, but it will do burnouts and that kind of stuff. That's going to be fun. And so I guess that's kind of the goal for this, is, you know, build a car that we can get going. We can do burnouts. We've got a turbo. We can have some fun, but not kid ourselves thinking, oh yeah, we'll be able to take it around corners super fast. Where the MPS that we built, that's ridiculous. The amount of money that's gone just into that, you know, for handling, let alone the power stuff. Totally different cars, and so that's not what this is for. But yeah. So let's keep driving. Water. Give me water. Someone give me water. Thank you for running it up. So, huge thanks to Rylan and to my wife and my son Geordie.
Hey, Geordie didn't do anything.
He was there, he was caring for me.
He just said what?
Working on taking this fuel tank out, and was working on the left hand side of the car and just went to have a look at the right hand side of the tank, and as neat as you'd like, a drop of petrol went straight in my eye. So I've been flushing it out with saline, eye drop stuff that we've got, heaps of those, and yeah, and it's pretty sore. Fuel goes great in cars, not good in your eye. Yeah, definitely burns. So I'm going to go a little bit more, but it's pretty hard to work through for that kind of pain. So we'll see if it gets any sore or not, and keep going though.
So we're taking out the fuel tank, and we just need to we've got all the bolts undone, but it's not going to fit to take it out, so it's going to be a tight squeeze. Some nice chunky tyres too, which I'm going to put the car in. So this is what happens when you don't read the instructions properly and try and use a wheel that's nowhere near strong enough to hold a car. So yeah, that's the guts of the wheel right there. Just smash that to pieces. That's alright. That's my wishful thinking that it would hold. Looks like the other side has done the same. If you can see that. This is this is take 2. So this is all steel, heavy duty. Man, I hope this one doesn't break. Alright, so what I've been making, I don't know what all this crazy cutting and welding is. Basically, it's a frame to hold the back of the car. So I've got these ridiculous, like, massive wheels at the very back, which are designed to hold stupid amounts of weight, which would be great. Just use some decent steel that we've cut up. My welds have gotten better. That's a more recent weld. It's funny how your welds get better the more you practice. Like, I'm pretty happy with that. That's not bad. Some of that, not very straight, but you can see the ones that I started off with, just shocking. Yeah, that's all right. Stage of the $2,000 challenge to see if we can build the turbo V8 for under $2,000. The next episode of this, we're going to pull in the XF and we're going to start working on that. So we're really starting to get to the good part of it. But before we do that, there's a bit of a question and answer part that we need to go through. Mostly because I've been getting a lot of questions about this build and how it works and what does the $2,000 going to cover and those kind of things. So basically my goal is to see if I can actually get the car running with the turbo for $2,000. So that will include the cost of the car, the cost of the second car, the donor car, the cost of the turbo, the cost of all the intercooler piping, plumbing, to see if we can actually make up enough exhaust manifold, hot pipe, and those kind of things to get to the turbo, to see if we can get some form of dump pipe and exhaust system come out of the turbo. The expensive part of the build will actually be if we have to do a custom drive shaft. That's going to be a little bit expensive because it is custom. And so we're trying to make sure that we've got enough money saved for that. But so far we've got the $450 XF, we've got the $800 Sora, We've got a $100 turbo, we've got a $50 intercooler with piping, all very fluky, especially the intercooler. We got that for very, very cheap from eBay. And yeah, and so we're looking on target to be able to do that as long as we get some fabrication. That won't include, and this is the stuff, I guess these are the questions that are coming in on Facebook and through YouTube. It won't include a computer. It won't include any sort of restoration, repair work to the car, because the XF has got a rusty roof and that kind of stuff. It won't include any other sort of performance-y parts that I may end up having to buy as far as supporting mods. So I'll put a blow-off valve on it because we need to get rid of the pressure from the turbo, and I'll see if I can just make it run and work for $2,000. But at this stage, what we're looking at doing then is actually doing a couple of other options. So the $2,000 challenge is to get the V8 up and running with the turbo in that car, done and dusted, actually running good. The next stage will be, if you threw another $1,000, what could you do? Maybe getting the body work on the car fixed up, getting it straight, getting it painted. The next challenge might be getting some wheels and some brakes on that car. And so actually increment that up to say, well, for $2,000, to see if we can actually turn what was a stock cheap car into a turboed V8, and then say, well, for $3,000, what could you do? $4,000, what could you do? $5,000 maybe. We'll see what the budget looks like, but I want to see if we can actually do it for cheap, because that'll be fun. This is all secondhand stuff. It's not expensive. The reason I chose the 1UZ is that it's actually got a forged bottom end, and especially this model, the earlier one, has really large rods on the pistons, which is fantastic. So it's actually built really tough. It will be able to be turboed well, but as some of you guys have been saying in the forums that I was already aware of, that the injectors and the computer start to max out at around sort of 7 or 8 psi. So I want to see if I can get that. That's my goal, to get 7 or 8 psi running on that for what I've got. I do have some parts lying around that I'm going to use that will keep that price, keep the money down. Like I do have a blow-off valve off another car. I actually have a boost control, an electric boost controller system from another car that I'm going to put on it. I've kept exhaust systems, I've got a bunch of silicone up here with some joins and those kind of things. So just for those that are possibly wanting to do this themselves, I'll also try and do a rough costing of what those parts will cost as well. Although it's not going to cost me money for this build, at some point they would have cost me some money. And so I'll try and stay true to that, so you can build your own parts list and get a realistic idea of what that's going to look when you have a go at it yourself, or if you're just watching out of interest and want to see what you can do for money wise. The other things, yeah, that won't be in the costings are the consumable items, such as, because I'm doing some fabrication, so gas, electrodes, if I'm using TIG welding, so the filler sticks, and those kind of things. They won't be in the costings just because I'm not really sure how to add that. I don't know what a stick of filler rod costs on its own. But I guess if you've got the stuff sitting there in your shed, you can do it. I am going to try and do the best job that I can. If I was going to try and keep it cheap, I'd just use the old stick welder and weld it all up that way. But because I actually want this car to be a bit of fun, I actually want to work on my own skills. I am going to try as much as possible to TIG weld the parts that need to be TIG welded. I can tack weld with the MIG. I've got both now. And things like, I have access to things like a plasma cutter and those kind of tools to do some of the fabrication. But as much as we can, anything I do with a plasma cutter, you could still easily do with a grinder, a death wheel, just an angle grinder. So we'll use that as well. But yeah, so I'm pretty excited that the next part of this build is actually working on the XF. It is going to be a couple of weeks away. I'm doing a couple of other projects in between now and then. If you're waiting for that, and I know it has actually been like a full month between the videos, and that's pretty genuine. The car only went last week. If you're watching this, in the first couple of days that this came out, it was late last week. I think Friday. Now today I'm filming this on Monday. Friday that the Sora was towed away. So I'm trying to get these out as quick as I can, but my life is extremely busy at the moment. I'll share some of that with an update video pretty soon. so you know why the videos aren't coming out as quick as they usually do. But thanks very much for watching, guys. Hope you're enjoying the build. Keep the questions coming, really happy to answer them. And thanks for watching Tim's Garage. See ya.